la 공도 되네스. 저 꾸노게 공지. 야고 쓰러.
To first of all, no, la. Can you hear me, Kishila? Mine is unmuted.
Is mute your
Unmuted. What happened? Oh, okay.
다미도 다미 도미론
Default speaker has changed to earphone port. You hear me now?
우선라 디 mute 제문도
Kishila, 생도가라.
근데 펜데 제문도 하고 무슨
From Chandrakirti Center to everyone. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you.
We talking without sound changing now.
Kishila, both of them.
Without sound, with sound, without sound.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
Kishila, your default speaker has changed to headset. Probably.
Now we do meditation, motivation meditation. we
Host disabled participant.
Well, listen, like we do motivation meditation.
Okay, could you do motivation meditation for, okay? Host disabled participant screening sharing.
It's Monday night walking.
La.
New computer. Update.
I can hear you, Kishila. Can hear both. Can hear both here. Can you hear Kishila? Kishila, sing together. What's wrong? What I'll do is I will shut down. I'll leave and join you.
Okay, we can do this. Zoom, direct Zoom, no microphone.
Is that right?
Ursula, do you code?
I can.
Yeah. Huh? I can go home.
I just Kishila.
Losang, can you talk to us?
No.
Yes, I can.
Wait a minute. Zoom, no, without the. I need to send me.
Carolyn, can you hear me? But what's the problem?
Technology.
Carolyn can hear me, but the center can't hear me. Oh, Geshe is upset. Is he?
Oh, we're going to plan B, Losang. Geshe's going to
Okay.
do Zoom from his house, so stay there for a minute.
All right.
They changed the computer. That's why it's not perfect.
Okay.
It's not plugged in.
Oh,
Mm. Hmm.
I think we should just progress class and just Geshe's just going to log into the Zoom from his house, so we
Okay.
don't rely on the microphone that isn't working.
Okay.
Okay, so just meditate
Yeah,
on
I'll-
motivation for a while.
Thank you.
Oh, Caroline can hear both here. There's something with Losang.
Is the problem with me?
Losang.
Well, so we might, even if Geshe goes in on the Zoom, we still might not like to hear that.
That's because we can't hear Losang.
Well, there's no point Geshe going to his house. Well, we'll have to go up there and listen when we can't hear anything.
Okay, I'll remove my. I've removed my phone. What's your default?
Microphone seems to be on here. I don't know if it's plugged in.
Right, see if he talks now.
Your default space changed to a headset.
It must be, you know.
Polygon.
But Caroline, if she says something.
No, get Caroline to talk so we can hear him.
Yeah.
So get Caroline to talk to us. Caroline, can you please say something and talk to us? Caroline,
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
can you talk to
Can you
us?
hear me? Can you hear me?
We can't hear her.
Oh,
Okay, we
okay,
can't.
hang on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear.
If Losang says something now, then it should work. There was the test.
Yeah.
Oh, Losang, can you say something now, please?
Okay, Oman
Oh, yeah.
Pemahon.
Okay, we can hear you. Was that
Yeah.
Yeah. So get it done there. No, he might as well.
It's not the teacher there.
So, well, guess what, it was only the volume button, shall we get it back? Yes, who wants to?
right? We're getting Geshe back now. He's disappeared, but we're getting him back.
So, what's the issue, do you think?
Oh, the issue ended up just being the volume button on the TV, not the laptop.
Oh.
The volume was turned right down on the TV for whatever reason.
Oh, Oman Pemahon. Hmm. Hmm.
It's quite straightforward when you're all here. You're under the thumb. You just, in 8 hours, yes. It's what happens. What's the TV does left out? Yeah, why aren't you giving me attention? But you would have turned the volume down on TV. You put it when you put the rotate on every time. Oh. Because the button is right in the top. It could have accidentally got leaned on. Now we know it's working for a problem. Yeah.
Okay, so let's put this happen.
There's so many processes going on. Has it been for us? You didn't have the mirror to make a full climb. Jinx. You were talking about.
Now the lights right attached them, but no sound. You see, it was we were talking at last and there was sound there. We make a class where there's no sound, just body language.
Where he only, yeah, and then we were teasing that he just dropped off. And follow into our minds.
The gardens there. We will have to do there. We will do the baking. What do you say when you? Yeah, and also mostly we will come to some gardens and also the school. Yes. Which one? I mean, I think we could. Red wine for English.
No, pretty long.
Really.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Technology, the more things. Ah. Ôi, ôi à, đang rồi, cái lúc cũng sẽ quên đó rồi, hả? Nè,
Let's do motivation, reflection.
ôi à, đó, rồi có cũng thì ngon rồi. Anh ấy, 이제 사람 저 인기 총어디다 그거 상부인지 가고 검스러.
So please realize this opportunity that we have to listen to Salam teaching is a rare occasion, and therefore feel fortunate that one has this chance.
ôi à, đó, ngon rồi, 단다 ngon rồi. 롭진디 다 단다 통방 녀모 시기 여러 녀모 계지 시기 인상. 다 디나라다 녀모 수수수 오다 계단다. 네, 고 칠레다 뜻이 셰용데. 아, 다디 펜 디셈바이나 아니 언제 제라다. 제 곰자베 내가라니 수수 셈나라다 칸칸데 셈나라 칸데셔기 예메 로아 요모 가르게 용구 예메 요모 셈 가르게도 동해 용구 예메 셈 가르게도 대화 내지 용구 예메데 네 세버시냐라 다단다 지 통번냐 요모 거도서 롭존 제거데 펜도 첨부 쉬어요 그래서
So the topic that we are currently dealing with is mental afflictions on the path of accumulation. What afflictions are? Ngo means identity or the items of affliction, how they arise, and their functions. So understanding these issues about mental afflictions on the part of seeing can be very beneficial when you meditate, and other times in realizing some how does one feel when certain kind of mind arises, and how does one feel when another kind of mind arises, and how the arisal of different mindsets has to do with how we feel inside.
나 키신 나다 디셰라서 되자 통반유몽게다 되자 셰레 니 디나네 다 드닝이와디 콘도 키신 디스 도인스를 텐스타 도이나 콘도라야 되다 콘도 라토에다 지나가 콘도 사그도스 라비용 거들래 콘도 제단게 규주여라 콘도 제단게 규디 딜라 내가 데스타민도 망고지 용되게 여러
So we were going through mental afflictions, 5 view and 5 non-view. So thus there are 10 out of 10 we have been dealing with, or rather we were dealing with 5 non-view. Out of that, attachment was dealt with briefly, and then the second mental affliction is kongtu means anger or hatred, and kongtu sagatu means I'm feeling angry. And it's all right to say I'm feeling angry, but we need to know what has given rise to it.
콘드의 규디 단다 값스딜다 군의 뉴심지 모부구스 군의 날심배 모부구스 군의 날심배 모부구스 질라다 베낭아란조 수술래 말라 너바 투숨나 자네 대와 타다 마음바라 단다 인가란라 너바 제신소 너바 제송 가산 괜히 제송 롱아마 너바 제송 윤제 텔레데네 심직 투용고 콘데사용고라 단다와라 너바 제기도 사 제심바와 다양 마음발랑알라 너바 제기도 스타든데게 랑라 덴베 아니 숨 덴데스 로
I'm sorry. So kongzhou is kunne narsimbe. Kishila karasa kunne narsimbe karasa kishila.
ngobugu
La kunne ngobugu. Thank you. Okay. When it comes to reflecting on what gives rise to anger in one, there are 9 items that make one malicious. There are 9 items that make one malicious, and the first they come in groups of 3. With regard to 1, you think to oneself, this person, the object of your anger, so they harmed me in the past. Reminiscing the harm they caused, then anger arises and a malicious intent arises. Now,
대월 덴베 콘도 다다월 다 너바 제기로와 대월 너바 제심바 텔레데네 거서 콘도 사그라
no, this is just
어야 다디나시 수수라 수수니엔라 덴바 숨로와 수수니엔스네 수수 가오 아니 다 가올라야 되라 수수 지 바마 빈자 토보 토모 롱바 지바 아니 제갑라 가와 리슌라 가와 다 가와 딘데라 다 지케지쉐디 수수 간예도 줄라 바지 녜니도 줄라 야노바 제 심바 노바 제 심바 노바 제와 조 마옹바 대와 다다와 마옹바 숨체 노바 페절라 노바 로앙란즈 지 분제 수수 가보들 미신다 노바 제 심바를 상당히 양 컨트롤 사용고도 알아 제 심바와 다다와 아니 제와 조 마옹바 제와 조 된데기야 줌진 숨제제 텔레데네 양 안서 컨트롤 사게 요레스로
So, with regard to one recollecting harm caused by the enemy in the past, then arouses anger, and reflecting on the fact that they are causing harm now today is cause for anger, and hypothesizing or assuming that they are going to harm me in the future, next year, and so on, reflecting on that, an ill intention of anger or to harm them arises. Now, this is three causes of anger pertaining to self. And there are three causes of anger pertaining to one's relations, one's loved ones, or loved ones could be people and things. So it could be one's community, it could be one's clubs, it could be one's country. So nationalism, for example. So then one could be provoked, one could feel provoked when you reflect on harm caused by the enemy to one's loved ones, whether they are people, clubs, and your country or society. Or they are causing anger now to my loved ones, and they are going to cause harm to my loved ones in the future. And these are the three causes of anger pertaining to ranking yin, means one's loved ones. Long.
다디네 수수 달러와 다스나 수수 마가스딜라 야 미신다지 펜토에 있는 거 컨트롤 사용도 야들 두종 펜토들 펜토 심바 펜토 심바 펜토 주르와 지제 근데 라디네 줌진 숨제 독세도다 당기 토간라다 숨제도 구차로고라 군이나 숨고 구세데 자조 컨트제기 유 구디샤고 레스라
So the last three are recogitating or recogitating the fact that someone else was kind to my enemy, and now you can't bear that, and then anger arises, and another person is now, someone else is being kind, good to my enemy, and I can't stand that. When something good happens to my enemy, I can't stand that. I know I heard something about people going to do something for my enemy, and that too becomes cause for anger. So these, when one gets filled with anger, considering self, loved ones, and one's enemy, and the loved ones and the enemy, so then these go to conspire anger or malicious intent to harm us.
다치당간서 지칼레카바당 초고도바당 tindelene tatuzu dinala dudu ra kondu sagdangzo
Anger also tiredness, fatigue, hunger, thirst can also contribute to frustration and anger.
다 kondogi ngodi kundunala dinde shadowa atsik diring bushto dizu dordu seshandi ani dinde shila yungudo ra
There is a definition of anger in Abhidharma Samujaya, the compendium of knowledge. by Asanga.
Control me use some la meanness, control me use some la meanness. Control me use some la meanness, misogynings, misogynings.
Long.
Any never chever there was, any gune never chever there was, gune nursing was the control over.
Yes. So there's a long kind of a small paragraphic definition, as it were. But to put it simply, the definition of anchor in Abhidhamma Samujaya goes like this. Control
me use some la mingne, misogynings.
Control me use sumla long.
Control me use some la mingne, misogynings, misogynings, and the net never chever.
Never chever duba.
Never chever go gune nursing bus.
Long. So the definition roughly is guna narsamba means harmful intent that wants to inflict harm, not being able to withstand, not being able to withstand what is being done to the three objects of anger.
다른다 control me use some slavian de me use some de 가르잖아. 아니 me use some de semjen 탐제체, semjen 남체, semje 탐제체.
So what are the three objects of anger mentioned here? The number one, all sentient beings.
니버디 런주 유드베 동해와 동해다 미데 동해의 컨트롤사게요라.
And suffering in one's mind mental continuum. What it means is hard time that one is going through.
런주 유드베 동해 남체. somebody 동해 대다 간을주겠네. 동해 대다 간을주겠네.
And third object of anger is the source of the many elements, hardships, suffering in one's mind. Long. Okay, sounds good.
아니 어디 컨트리뷰션을 미네 미스징스라다 미스스도 제가 배나 동해된데 수수주를 동해된데 요나 아니 동해데 다수수 동네 치마도 외치제 컨트롤사기요 따로.
So now one develops inability to bear pain. For example, if one has personal trouble, hardship, suffering due to having low threshold for pain, one becomes easily irritable, and then is not come to terms with the hardship, where there's anyway, with the suffering in one's mind, and then one gets angry. Long.
그래서 내 미스징 아니 너버 채와 되고 군에 날심불라도 제가 아 동해지래요. 되게 메시지 미션라파 너버스케나 수수 동해디 매버 차도고 서울지 레제 아니 바로벌라 너버제야 들려요 거라.
So then one develops a harmful intent to harm somebody else, and that is seen as the source of one's suffering, one's hardship, as if one harms somebody else, the perceived source of anger, one's harm could be addressed.
근데 동바 좀는데 될 빼야고 쉬우셔도로 미지기 수수 락벤나라 메지유나 메디 미신다라파 유기알 너버제 미신다 츠기알 메디 유기알 데발리 그래서 세상에 미디 락벤나게 메디 미신다라 마유콘라 당부 수수 락과 츠그래서 세상 콘도스니디 사연디 미 파르벌 수수 동에도 마서다 마지베도 마서 미 파르벌라 너버젠데게 셈디 숙청부 쉬지 레기여들레 미신라 너버 마제콘라 당고 수수라 너사르 수수 마지베서 그래서 베던데 베데 닝제 쉬도로
So Buddha gives an example to show this point, and that is when somebody develops a harmful intent or a desire to harm others because one couldn't bear the hardship caused by others. What does one do? One loses the plot, and one scoops, one scoops hot amber in one's hand, and then one thinks, if I throw that to them, they will be harmed, and I will feel good. But before others harmed, the hot amber has already burned one's head, so that has harmed one first, let alone harming others. So that's what one thinks. If I harm somebody, my harm will be minimized, when in fact this only exasperates the problem.
다 컨트롤 칠레와 컨트롤 칠레디 아니 세데 대화라 대화 메와다 대화 개와 메워서 마세 니치마 동에 빵미 개와 지야기다 레 님바 쉬우직사게 디 컨트롤 칠레레스로
The function of anger is to destroy all merits and therefore disturb peace of mind, and then become a potent force for tremendous suffering in the future.
나 준주나라 딘데송도 셰단 숭우 심장나스로 셰단 숭우 심장나 이니 시와 니미뇽스로 가단 대단 미 가단 대와 미터블라 니미운신 데미주스 칸다 노르단 쿠디 다데와 먹어셔로 어디다 셰단 숭우 심장스네 콘도스니 심이요나 아니 스스 이니스 일라 시와 아니 니 뇨아요 말레스 콘도 여여 쉬고 심나라 시와 영화 거라 요 말레스다 봐 예 셰단 숭우 심 콘도 여여 쉬고 아니 스스 심데라 시와 요 말레스 테마세 아니 심라 가와단 대와딘데 토베 요 말레스 테마세 니 구구 말레스다 니 구구 말레스 테마세 셈바 템보 메오 샤로 그랬어 테마세 아니 수수게 지 소남 기사 세르고 요면서 아니 노롱주다 연구 말해서 다디 컨트롤 칠레 하자도 자래도 알아.
So the function of harmful intent, control, or hatred is quite clearly stated by Shantideva in Bodhisattva's Guide, or the Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life, where he says, when you hold the agony of when you hold the agonizing mind of hatred, simply your mind will never be at peace. Not only that, you'll be robbed of God and Dawa means state of joy and peace. Still further, when you have anger, you may have very comfortable, luxurious bed, but you won't be able to sleep. And when you entertain this agonizing mind of anger and hatred, your mind becomes infirm, indecisive, loses stability of the character, leading to loss of a marriage. With the loss of a marriage, then there will be implications on your material welfare.
다디 다디 답네 컨트롤 님이 망보셰 딱인 심 다디 샤시로 안다 순방도 ngaje
So now the third, there are so many means drawbacks, crippling, sapping drawbacks of anger and hatred, but no time for that. Let's move on to let's move on to ngage means arrogance or pride, negative pride.
다디 ngaje 주디 빌라 직조게 따와 직다스야 돼 따와 하나가서 따밍아 시기로 다 따와가 그게 직다스야셔로 다디 직다데 직세나 야고요 다 제일 따와가래 시기래 하나 ngaje지야기 가두달라 니 신용고로 와다르와 근데 따와가 그게 아니 직다라데 직다라데와 직다스
No. So we are dealing with the third of 5 non-view mental afflictions. Okay, and for that, it is that arrogance, means negative pride, arises from the view of transitory collection, jikta. And so jikta is the first of the 5 view mental afflictions. So let me talk briefly about that. It will be useful here and in the next context.
직대기 ngode 가래스나 년년지 풍부라 민네 나라 년년 풍부스나 나란저 답배나 수구 풍부들라 민 소여 풍부 디지 풍부 디지 나 만샤다 먼저 수구 풍부들 미기어라 먼저 일단도 초월에 미기어래 먼저 초월에 미기어래 디실에 미기어래 디실에 미기어래 이나다 디시단 디실에 미기어서 먼저 ngö 세버 신투고야 말해 루일라 미고데 ngö 신투고 초월 미고데 먼저 ngö 신야래라버래 세상 딱 당고 빼러오잖아 루일라 미네랑 니월레 풍부스도 먼저 루문텔라 미네스로 아니 나다 나이와 짐베 싫어 뉴모제 나다 다 풍부텔라 미네 나 녜스로 나세 녜세 딘데즈니 싫어 뉴모제스도 이 싫어 다워다워치고 저다고 딩에리 나레 세여쳐발라 코디 나 임바도 많이 봐 여와데 쳐고로 이너데 뉴모게 차도보선자 싫어 진이 상황 차기와 말에 싫어 뉴모제스 디 직달라인데 오단디 아니 가능서 다 두즈 상모 여러 단다로
What is the view of a transitory the view of a transitory collection, like it is it's defined as so it is a diluted cognitive dilutive wisdom. It's a diluted wisdom which observes or focuses on 5 aggregates, the 5 appropriated, the 5 appropriated, meaning the 5 aggregates, and then this diluted wisdom thinks to itself with respect to the five aggregates, it develops it develops the sense of I, mine. Looking at, so it's mainly looking at out of five aggregates, looking at the aggregate of body, aggregate of sensation, as well as discernment and compositional factors, so on. But it's mainly it's mainly directed towards the aggregate of form and sensation, and then one develops this diluted wisdom, which thinks to itself, I, and mine, and this is a wisdom in the sense it has a cognitive faculty of making some distinction or doing minor analysis, but it's not wisdom in the positive sense.
인제게 나스야디 풍풍알라 원 주어부터베 나 아니 랑갸와다베지 따요나 아니 가자기 단지 락바차로요로.
So looking at the aggregates, one generates I, one feels I, and that I is then considered the controller, user of aggregates, and a self-sufficient, autonomous ruler, controller of the appropriated, meaning aggregates.
나 직달라 가자 단지 임비 켜버려라.
So, Jikta, the view of a transitory collection is necessarily grasping at self or conception of self of a person, grasping at self of a person or conception of self of a person. Jikta yin kansaga tanzi yin be kyap los kishila.
다 먼저 덴덴라 주니는 전에 주에 마리바사제요. 어디 딜라 직다샤고 데 직다샤고 왔다. 마리바트.
So, classic item, a classic example of Jikta, the view of transitory collection, is the first of the 12 links in the 12 links of the wheel of life. The first link is called Marikpa, ignorance, and that is Jikta, the view of transitory collection.
당연한저 뒤진 레스 지금 뭐 세계요라. 최선 레 딩어로 지레사야기 꿀론 바치 도고라. 꿀론도 아니 꿀론딜라 아니 녜 직직이 nga 약고도 녜 직직 삼다운디 nga 사지 람상 nga 사지 레기도 티기 타니 아니 nga 지지 거에 미팅하면 야고민도 아니 되네지 심나로 디 깨징이바들라 아니 람산 상상을 룽아게 차월레 룽아 차월레고는 심난 텐데 열리는데 아니 심난을 템베네갑들라 이 얘기를 내는 거라 심을 되네 아니 룽아게 차워던데 아니 룽아게 레서 차용 거라 제가 레디 마지공라 먼저다 코에 레 마지공라 단데 직다디 깨용 거 깨다 가서나 녜세랑 세야디 녜라 차용 거 여러 다디 디 다디 중앙으로 좀 공개돼 삼다더라 공개하시고 알아내네 다수주 개월치기나 녜직치기 디 군론들이야 지 정말지 요말에 다지 지 미개베 삼로시다나다 아니 나세 다 가르 야니 가르체나 녜세야로 나세야지 디 자연 거다 자연도 딘데 나 삼단단데 아니 랑갸오로지 단다 디행어서 우마란 주베 따르체나 랑갸오로지 따용야 랑갸와 네베 풍불의 텐신베 랑갸오로지 따용데 아니 데다와데 랑갸데베 제기 다 차로고라 디단지 차로 여라시나 직다디 쉬우직다 항상 담에 마도 봐도 다 기야 임바래다 담에 마도 사과다 왜 제외마세 운주디 기용 거래요
this is how Jigda and karmic formation works. As was just pointed out, the first of the 12 link in the wheel of life is ignorance, and that is synonymous with view of transitory collection. And so initially, there is a flash of a view of a transitory collection that prompts, that motivates, that prompts an action that gives rise to action, the second of the 12 links. And so how are karma, how are different types of karma motivated, instigated by ignorance? Different types of karma are instigated by ignorance because before a karma is performed, a person develops the intention, I need to do this. This is mine, and I need to do something. And okay. So okay, I need to do this, and I need this, and a need is felt, and then one says to himself, I need it. And
Oh, ngala go ingire.
Long.
Go la.
So how does ignorance instigate karma to come about? Karma is instigated by one thinking to oneself, by having a sense of I. And that, okay, I need this, this is mine, and I need to do this. And therefore, then what does one do? One acts verbally. One acts verbally by speaking unkindly towards other, and physically, one may be doing some physical negative action, and that verbal negative action and physical action are karma, prompted by the psychology of I. I need to do it, and that I is seen and felt as autonomous. So therefore, that mentation of I is a mental karma. And then when it's translated into action verbally and physically, that becomes physical and verbal karma. So even when we do virtue, that virtue is tainted by I, because when I am doing something virtuous, again, a tainted I takes pride, a tainted autonomous I comes to the forefront and then taints the virtue. So Yang Yi, so whatever, as until we realize emptiness of self of a person, no matter what we do, good or bad, is blessed, as it were, by I. And that is according to autonomous autonomous school, and that I that that stains every action is seen as autonomous, self-sufficient, existing and controlling over body and mind. So Geshe says, until we realize selflessness of person directly, we are going to be unfortunately influenced by Jikta, the view of transitory recollection.
아니 이게 첼레디 가rel라나 다 땡엔 탐제 직달라드네 지고 다 코에 간주 뒤지 강에 동에 상마다 직달라드네 당한저 뒤중한저 때지 타딩만도시는 미지라 주고주 남시지라 주고주 아니 지 근데라 파 주주로 지가 टाउन마시바다 탐메디바다 지 추메네가 강에 추메네가 딱 원에게 주주세데 직달라드네 총어다 상말로 땡엔 담마시고 담만되고 상말로 직달라드네 총어레스다.
So what is function of this ignorance? It is to give rise to everything, everything, okay, it gives rise to every misfortune, every hideous misfortune. If anything goes wrong and the problem, one faces problem, normally we tend to point finger at a person, or you say you point finger up to the sky and they will blame the sky, the weather, but actually everything that goes wrong and misfortune that follows has to be put down to the view of transitory recollection, because it's one.
Oh yeah. 당도 나제기 땡 나제기 주디 어디 직다들에스다. 나제 신올라 직다디 신고다.
So now let me go back to the third of the non-view mental affliction, which is like means arrogance or pride. So now pride arises from the view of transitory recollection. Pride has its base in this view of transitory recollection. That's why we need to know Jikta in order to understand pride.
단데 나제들 람리치면나라 딘데 송도라 람리치면나라야 나제 니스로 디다다 텐다디 코디버스도 나제 니스로 직달라 땡데 세상 직달라 땡네 아니 치엄로 치엄 난기 토메다 상해라 미네 심캥바 땡 직달라 땡 치, 나, 토와다, 마와다, 상해 나졸라 미네 아니 심캥바 심캥바 어디 아니 마제스 어디레스다 심캥바 나마치티.
So what is how do we define pride? In the Lamrim Chamo, it is mentioned as sim kengba, means inflated. Is an inflated aspect of mind. It is inflated mind, which looks at things on the outside, on the inside, or things that are higher and below, and so on. But it feels it is inflated with superiority complex. I am better.
나제 지상 나제들라 ngaje de la dun wa ngaje dun yo ngaje yo
So
dun
there are 7 types of pride. We are rich in pride.
ngaje she hakbe ngaje she ngaje le jang ngaje she
Look, what are they?
당부 거랑 de ngaje 지고 당부 ngaje wa
The 7 types of pride are as follows. The first is called pride.
niwa de
Niwa-
hakbe ngaje
Okay, the pride of being superior.
sumba de ngaje le jang ngaje
Okay, pride over pride. Okay, sorry, pride greater than the proud.
뭐냐 숨바지 다 시와디 ngao nyambe ngaje
The pride of I.
근데
The
이수시가 시 ngao ngombe ngaje
means manifest pride, untamed pride.
안데네 중세 nyambe ngaje
And the pride of being slightly the pride of being equal, so the pride of being slight or marginally equal.
타마데 lokbe ngaje
And then the last one is perverse or distorted.
다 당보디 ngaje 당보디 신시라고 지잖아 네 미러지라 삼다는데 네 수술에 내가 뼈러지 멤버지 통인데 안 딜레다 나 겨와데 파관이 냐베 심 캥바들 ngaje디 디두유 ngaje 라드레다
So the first pride is what we normally call pride. When you feel I'm better than that, and that is seen as slightly inferior. So it's a kind of a condescension.
아니 이버디 하베 ngaje로
No?
하베 ngaje디 땅안한저 란다 냠바라 방은 진도 집어나라니 롭종 나란다 간저 다워더이 이나 간저 다워데나래 자야 나데즈 타가 요스라
No. So the second pride is the pride of being superior, and that is among a class of students. They are on par their competence is somewhat equal, but among the equal, one things are more equal than the others.
근데 용구로다 ngaje leja ngaje 세디 이니 신 켜와데 파고라 신 켜와데 파고 저줄 레장 아니 nga 켜와데 파고 요스다
And that is the third one is the pride of better than the best pride. I am better than the best. One puts oneself in the among the class of competent, and so I'm better than those who claim to be really superior, but I know I'm better than them. So it's a kind of better than the best pride attitude.
근데 ngao nyembe ngaje 세디 당나서 년len지 풍부를 민네 ngao nyembe 심 캥보들 년len 풍부 수수 르다 될 삼나 단제 nga shibji sim 캥바지 용거로 딜라 네 ngao nyembe ngaje 스로
And the pride of I is inflation of I, somewhat baselessly, but looking at the 5 aggregates and then developing an inflated inflated mind, thinking I. So, whilst there is no basis for such inflation, but one feels the aggregates are I or whatnot, long.
다드네 ngombe 제세야디 마토바 톱 냠지 싱킹 받으래 따라 마토바 톱냠 따딜라 마토바 톱세 담은데 여와 수수 연대 마토바라 톱냠 받아 안 수수라지 벤조라와당 아 로투 마토나 톱냠 제제 초그라 자지만 먹고 있는데 녀라서라
So the pride, manifest pride, pertains to baseless pride, thinking to oneself, I have achieved such and such a realization, I have such and such qualification, when one actually doesn't have any of these virtues or qualifications, or I am rich, when in fact there's no basis for that, or when people think, or the pride of being rich, next week when I get the lotto, and loss. So when there's the chance of winning lotto is rare, but one could entertain a pride beforehand.
하시는데 열다로
There are people who engage in this pride.
아야 ngombengaje 네네 중세년bengaje 다 중세년bengaje 사데 란레 체 켜와데 파고 미드네 여러와 딜레 다 중세 메노스 심 캥바지 레고르 나란레 켜와데 파고 미드네 여러 딜레 나테스다 껴 여러 이나 베란다 껴메 심라 캥바지 레고 여러와
So the next is Jungse Nyamben, like he means the pride of being marginally equal to those who are higher than one. Anyway, in what it means is one feels that one is not as competent, as fantastic, as superior as a class of superior people. However, one doesn't say, I'm absolutely inferior to them, but one says, I'm only marginally inferior to them. I'm almost there. So, and then yeah, feels good about it.
다 듬바디 록뱅아제로 타마디 록뱅아제로
The last one is lokbeng, like that means distorted or perverse.
에다 타와 마임발라 타와 이인삼바 타와 마임발라 타와 이인삼 연대 마임발라 연대 인 신의 마임발라 신의 인다 제 어딘데 딜라 록뱅아 제세로 안 수술라 캥바진 심 캥바진이 디 임바 짐바 잠로 말해 고 짐바디 록시 차도라 디 짐바 잠마제니 캥 심라 양아제 캥바진 심 캥바스 야지 간부 푸제디야 강원나지 심야 양한된 조로 차고라 근데 용구로 와다로
So the perverse or distorted pride happens when one feels inflated, thinking that one has achieved nirvana when the state is not nirvanic. One has achieved certain level of spiritual qualities when one is without the level of qualities, or one thinks to oneself, or feeling inflated, thinking that my karma abiding is the real karma abiding, when it's well short of the the standard gold standard karma binding. So if one thought I have my karma binding is the real karma binding, and that's a distortion. But this not only does one distort, but the distortion feeds one's pride and then feeling superior for no reason.
다 나제기 칠레로와 나제기 칠레 카레스나 윤덴제 남라로와 수술레 윤덴 야가투절라 미쿠바체로와 미쿠바 쿠샤메바체 아니 롱당 똑베 추 서드 토발라 객체기요레스로와
The function of pride is really detrimental. First of all, one becomes very disrespect to the elderly, to the learned, to the to the sublime practitioners. Even worse, function of pride is it stands in the way. It is a resistance to developing new spiritual qualities, because one has a sense of I know it all attitude. Therefore, complacency sets in, then prevents further growth.
니 새롭지마 ngendol gewe juchigiyorez ani
Long, it also functionally, it also is responsible for lower rebirth in the lower realms.
ani gewachima mile gewlembe ina mibe ubudang mi yonde mashini ani mi tinde yungudo tinde chiadas peji ngajegi tinde yundigiyoresro
It is also said, even if they bounce back, to a human realm, there will be people who are very slow in uptake of information and who suffer from certain degree of material poverty as well.
ngajedi kondungos thaniji ngajerdarwa
In a way, it is anger. So it is pride that directly leads to anger. That directly gives rise to anger.
yadan dilaya nanda ngajeji kumbula yondenji chumechasro tanda kadam geshi sudu be mensa sung nimjung chiade ne yonden chiuji janda mila kushap chi nimjung chiuji na ngaje kita nyamne ngaje mewe nyamne de chiuji nangi sarwa ni chedan tanda lojong sikye na khanda suda thobeze danyigule menda shinsa de ngaje ge nimbo 공부 yore pede tanda yonden ngajeji kumbula yondenji chumechi sa dokdor wa sa dokdor kana chu degimendo wa chu sangwa ma konggo nana kilgido wa tenashi mi ngaje yonye de lobchon kyuni shing marese wara sha
So Ngagel is really detrimental, as mentioned before, because it is said in Lojong, mind training teaching, mind training genre of Buddhist training. Ngagel Kongpuna on the summit of sorry, I just blow my nose.
oh this be
It says,
magic
if there's water doesn't remain on the top part or the summit of a mount, mound, or on the summit of a peak. Water always goes goes down and then flows and nourishes soil on the plain where then grass, vegetation grows. And this is an imagery, and the same, this imagery also suggests a person filled with pride. Their mind is like the summit of a dry, summit of a the summit of a rocky mountain where water won't stay. In the same way, spiritual qualities are very difficult in a mind that is full of itself, and it is for this reason Kadamba masters, they rated humility highly, because humility is the ground of spiritual nourishment and spiritual germination and growth. And that's why in the 8th stanza mind training, Daniel Suda drop is it it says in the 2nd stanza, whenever I associate with anyone, I will always see myself below others. So that clearly and explicitly highlights the need for the practice of humility, not arrogance. No. So
Patrick loved the get a sugar medical. I know, loves that. Like some Gaza.
It's very common to hear, but when you start a conversation, and before you made the point that your conversation partner, oh, I know it, I know, don't I know. So so it's difficult to have a conversation with a know-it-all person.
Yeah, that is our.
Any questions?
No question. Question holiday today.
Hello, Geshe.
Hello.
Hello.
You
I
have a
wasn't quite
question?
sure on the 3 sources of anger. I didn't quite get that bit.
3 sources of anger. That did a Geshe in fact, there are 9. Okay, there are 9. 3 pertaining to self, 3 pertaining to loved ones, 3 pertaining to one's enemy.
Yes,
Caroline contribute and the contribute because Geshe contribute no good.
Really?
contribute no good. The Ningdu Jang so good cargain son.
Rangla temba sumche, Rangi Niela temba sumche, Rangla Nova J Simba, J Simba, Jewa Jua Sum, Rangi Niela Nova J Simba, J Simba, Jewa Jua Sum, Rangi Dala Pen Talk Simba, Pen Talk Simba, Pen Talk Jurwa Sije, no, those good is.
So the 9 items that lead to harmful intent and anger, anger is 3 pertaining to 1, namely the enemy has harmed me in the past, is harming me now, and I know they will harm me in the future, 3. And the second, the enemy is also harming my loved ones and relations. Harmed the enemy has harmed my relations, my loved ones in the past, and the enemy is harming them now and will harm again in the future. Now the third one is pertaining to one's enemy. If your enemy is harmed by another person, you take delight, but not this case. And a third party is being very helpful to your enemy, and then you say that person has helped my enemy. I feel really bad about it, and they're helping them now, and that also is a cause for anger. And I know the third party or the third person will keep helping my enemy. And anyway, when you think about two types of benefits to self and loved ones, and one of help to one's enemy, when one cogitates, dwell in these reflection, then anger simmers in the mind.
Ôi, nó để chào rồi.
Thank you, Losang.
Đấy,
Thank you, Geshe.
you're welcome.
Page 31, short mandala.
Rồi,
Okay, so chain may talk drum, ray rob, yam body, sange jingu ming te oagi, drop a num dashing
Barash.
Jetsun la me kun se rab jen jing, Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamnuyataya. Due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception to that enlightened state. May Supreme Jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, by paying homage, offering, and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddhas stay and teach, I now dedicate all this to full awakening. I dedicate all these through the virtue with the dedication praised as the best. By the victorious ones thus gone over 3 times, that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the King of Dharma, Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma practice and flourish. May the youngest of obstacles be pacified, and all conducive circumstances be complete. Distinguished fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. Incomparably kind, Tenzin Gyatso I beseech. May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path that is a unification of emptiness and compassion. At the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech. May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. To uphold the subdued's moral way, to serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Munjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers, honoring yours. Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please, swiftly return. By relying on the 2 accumulations of myself and others in the 3 times, may the teachings of the conqueror Losang Drugpa blaze for a long time. And swift return prayer. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratika Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness in this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Buddha's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for all mother living beings who suddenly departed to peace, what a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the 3 jewels and the great ways of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam and glory for fortunate disciples. Thank you, Losang.
Thank you, Losang. Good
Thank you,
patient.
everyone. Thank you.